7 News starts now, live with breaking news.
Good afternoon. Families held out hope as the search for their children intensified on Lake Hartwell.
This morning, though, the bodies of 2 high schoolers were recovered, bringing the search to a heartbreaking end.
We do have team coverage of the incident from Lake Hartwell and from Daniel High School in Pickens County.
And that's right. We begin with Ariana Meadows. She is live right now at Lake Hartwell, where all that searching went on. Ariana?
Hey, I'm here on Old 6 Mile Road overlooking Lake Hartwell and the bridge, where investigators believe the students jumped off and into the lake. The Pickens County Sheriff's Office says the bodies of the 2 students who jumped into the Lake Hartwell that went missing, and they were recovered this morning around 11. They say the incident stemmed from a dare by a group of students from Daniel High School who planned to meet at Lake Hartwell to jump off the bridge. We're told first responders used sonar boats, underwater drones, and divers to help recover the bodies. Officials say the 2 students' bodies were found 8 feet apart from each other, around 16 feet deep into the water.
There's actually a strong current that takes place right underneath that bridge. So if you're not a strong swimmer, I would not suggest swimming without a flotation device. But also, we have to be careful to follow TikTok trends or, habits where people are trying to encourage people to jump off bridges or anything of that nature. I mean, it's just inherently not safe.
The Pickens County Sheriff's Office says they anticipate the coroner's office to perform an autopsy by tomorrow. In Pickens County, Ariana Meadows, 7 News.
Ariana, thank you. Our team coverage continues. With 7 News' Elise Devlin. She spoke with high schoolers who knew the 2 students. She's live now at DW Daniel High with more. Elise?
Yeah, good afternoon. A difficult time for Daniel during what should be an exciting week, as there's just a few days left of school. And we spoke with students here today who tell us they've been leaning on one another to get through all of this. And they tell us that they hope the community can remember their friends as the loving and kind people that they knew them as. And we want to show you video here of the growing number of flowers that continues to be dropped off at the bridge on 6 Mile Highway by students. They tell us for many of them, it's their first time dealing with grief like this, but they've been able to find comfort in one another, as well as the school district, which is providing grief counselors and other resources. The district says they will continue to support students as they begin planning events to honor their friends rather than events to celebrate the end of the school year.
We're looked at as like the family that jumps in and supports in times like this. Schools we become family with the students and with their families.
And the school district tells me that it is tradition here at Daniel to have a senior prank day each year. That was actually supposed to happen yesterday, but instead the seniors hosted a vigil. We're told that they will continue to host vigils, and we'll have details on that soon. We'll keep you updated on that on our air and online at WSPA.com. We're live in Pickens County. Elise Devlin, 7 News.
Thanks, Elise. And we will continue to update you on this story here on air, also online at WSPA.com as we learn more. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Christy Henderson. Christy?
All right, thanks a lot, Taylor. We have had some sunshine today, seasonably warm temperatures. A lot of folks are close to 80 degrees around the upstate, and that's where we should be for this time of the year. It does look like we're going to see a warm evening with temperatures in the 70s in most areas through 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll start out mainly in the 60s. We'll check out the rest of the forecast in a few minutes. Amy?
Thanks, Christy. A developing story right now. A man is dead and his wife is hurt following a crash in Townville. It happened around 1:30 yesterday morning. The Highway Patrol says the man's Dodge pickup went off O'Neill Ferry Road at Watson Road and hit a tree. The Anderson County coroner says 52-year-old David Hauser died at the scene. His wife was injured and taken to the hospital, but we don't know her condition. Authorities say they were on the way home from a party. And a 7 News update today. We know the name of the man found dead in Greenville County. The coroner's office says Justin Scott was found dead in Landrum Saturday morning. Deputies tell us that they were called around 6:30 to North Highway 14 near Wood Drive. It's not clear if there's foul play involved. An autopsy is set for today. We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn new information on air and on WSPA.com.
Lawyers for former President Donald Trump wrapped up their third day of cross-examination of the prosecution's star witness in the New York criminal trial against the former president. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer, admitted to stealing $30,000 from the Trump Organization. Cohen testified that when he invoiced the Trump Organization in 2017 for what he says was reimbursement for payments to Stormy Daniels, he also included funds meant for the tech firm, but he never paid the company.
It felt like one of those moments on the stand where he raised his voice and felt like he'd really caught Cohen in yet another scheme in front of the jury.
Trump's defense lawyers are trying to undermine Cohen's credibility. He is the only person who testified that Trump had personal knowledge of an illegal scheme to falsify business records related to the Daniels payment. Now that former president denies any wrongdoing, Cohen is the prosecution's last witness, sending the case over to the defense. The judge says he expects closing arguments next week.
7 News is your local election headquarters. The campaign for president is well underway with both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump trying to shore up some key voting blocks. They did that over the weekend, and each man spoke at events with voters critical to their election success. Trevor Shirley has more.
And this weekend, both candidates gave a good sense of their campaign strategies going forward. On Sunday, President Joe Biden gave the commencement address at Morehouse College, a historically black college in Atlanta. Later that evening, the president traveled to Detroit, Michigan, speaking at a dinner for the NAACP. Both events highlight the president's drive to keep black and minority voters not only engaged, but willing to vote in November. It's a key constituency the president knows he needs in order to win this November. But recent polling in several swing states shows the president slipping with his approval ratings among black voters. In the meantime, former President Donald Trump addressed the annual NRA convention in Dallas this weekend. Gun rights remain a major issue for many conservative voters. The former president casting himself as a major ally of gun owners and urging them to vote in November. He also received the endorsement of the NRA. The weekend's events highlight the strategies both candidates are expected to maintain through November.
You matter. You matter. Let's be clear. Because of your vote, it's the only reason I'm standing here as President of the United States of America, period. Again, that's not a joke. That's a fact. You're the reason Kamala Harris is historic vice president. You're the reason Donald Trump is the defeated former president.
And let there be no doubt, the survival of our Second Amendment is very much on the ballot. You know what they want to do. They're going to, if they get in, our country is going to be destroyed in so many ways, but the Second Amendment will be, it's under siege. But with me, they never get anywhere.
And both President Biden and former President Donald Trump are both expected to hold other campaign events this week. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
Happening today, we may find out if Duke Energy customers will have to pay more. On Friday, the company said it reached a compromise on its requested rate increase. Duke Energy says it will be about $840 million less than it had been seeking. The company says typical customers will pay an extra $12 a month beginning in August. Rates would go up another $6 a month in the summer of 2026. And Duke Energy heard from upstate customers this spring on the prospect of paying more for electricity.
This is not only a hardship for seniors and low-income people, but all people, because when the businesses start getting these increases, they're going to pass those expenses on to the customers, and that'll cause even more inflation.
The Public Service Commission of South Carolina will review the agreement beginning today, along with other issues in the review for a rate increase. Well, you can meet the third and the final candidate to be the next Lawrence County School District 55 superintendent today. Dr. Chris Ballinger will be at the district office in Lawrence off Hillcrest Drive beginning at 5:30. A final decision on the new superintendent will be announced May 28th.
And they're off. Hundreds of cyclists headed off into one of the nation's most grueling challenges on a bike, the 47th annual Assault on Mount Mitchell. Cyclists set off from in front of Memorial Auditorium in downtown Spartanburg early this morning. It is a nearly 103-mile ride from Spartanburg to the top of Mount Mitchell in North Carolina. The climb totally is more than 11,000 feet. Last year's winner finished in 5 hours, 40 minutes. We caught up with one of the cyclists ahead of this ride.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. I have done a lot of similar. I mean, the numbers I think is close to 11,000 feet of climbing. That's definitely a lot. But yeah, I'm actually excited. I'm excited. Yep. The last stretch is where it's going to be very interesting.
Now, some of the cyclists were there for the assault on Mount Marion. That's about a 74-mile ride that finishes just short of the climb to the top of Mount Mitchell. All cyclists have to cross the finish line by 5:30. Sean Diddy Combs now says he hit rock bottom in response to that disturbing video that surfaced last week of him abusing a former girlfriend. A breakdown of his apology video coming up.
All right, we've got quiet weather across the western Carolinas. I'll let you know how much longer it's going to stick around before rain comes back into the forecast coming up.